Emily Brontë was born in 1818 in Yorkshire. She was one of 6 children, part of a truly remarkable literary family. Her father, Patrick Bronte, was a clergyman, and the family lived in a parsonage in Haworth. This house was perched right on the edge of the wild and windswept Yorkshire moors. Her sisters, Charlotte and Anne, would also become famous writers. Along with their brother, Branwell, they grew up in this isolated but intellectually vibrant home. They spent their days reading everything they could find and creating fantastical worlds in their heads, writing intricate stories and poems about imaginary kingdoms called Gondal and Angria. It was a childhood steeped in imagination, a perfect training ground for a future novelist. Unlike her more sociable sister Charlotte, Emily was intensely private and reclusive. She was a true homebody, finding her greatest comfort not in people, but in the dramatic landscape that surrounded her. The moors were her church, her playground, and her muse. She would take long, solitary walks across the heather-covered hills, no matter the weather. This deep connection to nature is something you can feel on every page of her work. The wildness of the moors, its sudden storms, its stark beauty, and its unforgiving nature became a powerful mirror for the turbulent emotions and untamed passions she would later write about with such astonishing force. In the mid-19th century, it was incredibly difficult for women to be taken seriously as authors. So Emily, along with Charlotte and Anne, made a clever decision. They chose to publish their work under male pseudonyms. Emily became Ellis Bell, Charlotte was Currer Bell, and Anne adopted the name Acton Bell. They chose these names to preserve their initials. In 1846, they pooled their money to publish a collection of their poems. The book, simply titled Poems by Currer, Ellis, and Acton Bell, sold only 2 copies, but this small failure didn't stop them. It was a stepping stone, giving them the courage to send their novels to publishers. The following year, in 1847, Emily's one and only novel was published. It was a book so strange, so dark, and so powerful that it shocked the Victorian public. It was, of course, Wuthering Heights. Published under the name Ellis Bell, it was released alongside Anne's Agnes Grey. Charlotte's Jane Eyre had been published just a few months earlier to massive success. Emily's novel, however, was met with confusion and some rather harsh reviews. Critics didn't know what to make of its brutal characters and its refusal to offer a simple moral lesson. They found it savage, gloomy, and utterly perplexing, a far cry from the novels they were used to. Wuthering Heights is a story that refuses to be tamed. It is set in that very landscape Emily knew so well, the desolate and beautiful Yorkshire moors. The story centres around 2 remote houses, Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange, which represent 2 opposing worlds. Wuthering Heights is stormy, wild, and passionate, just like its inhabitants. Thrushcross Grange, by contrast, is a place of calm, refinement, and social convention. The novel's plot is a sprawling family saga, spanning 2 generations and driven by an all-consuming love story that turns toxic. It's a ghost story, a romance, and a tale of revenge all rolled into one unforgettable package. At the heart of this tempestuous tale are 2 of literature's most iconic characters, Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff. Catherine is the spirited, willful daughter of the master of Wuthering Heights. Heathcliff is a mysterious orphan boy her father brings home from Liverpool. They form an inseparable, almost feral bond as children, roaming the moors together. Their souls seem to be cut from the same cloth. As Catherine famously says, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." Their connection is more than just love. It is a fundamental, elemental part of their very beings, something that defies easy explanation or social acceptance. The central tragedy unfolds when Catherine decides to marry the wealthy and gentle Edgar Linton from Thrushcross Grange. She believes this marriage will secure her social standing and foolishly thinks it won't affect her deep connection to Heathcliff, but she is terribly wrong. Heathcliff, feeling betrayed and socially humiliated, flees Wuthering Heights. He returns 3 years later, mysteriously wealthy and transformed into a cruel, bitter man. His one purpose in life is now to exact revenge on everyone he believes has wronged him, destroying not only the Earnshaw family but the Lintons as well, in a devastating and calculated campaign. The novel explores some incredibly dark and powerful themes. The love between Catherine and Heathcliff is not a gentle romantic affair. It is a destructive, obsessive force that ultimately ruins them and everyone around them. Revenge is the engine that drives the second half of the book, as Heathcliff's bitterness poisons the next generation. The rigid social class system of the time is constantly under scrutiny, as it is Catherine's desire for social advancement that triggers the entire catastrophe. And weaving through it all is a sense of inescapable fate, as if the characters are puppets in a grand, tragic play set against the unforgiving backdrop of the moors. So why is Wuthering Heights still so famous today, more than 175 years after it was first met with such bewilderment? One reason is its sheer originality. There was nothing else quite like it in 1847, and there is arguably nothing quite like it even now. Emily Brontë broke all the rules of the Victorian novel. Her characters are not neatly good or evil. They are complex, flawed, and often deeply unlikable. Heathcliff, in particular, is not a traditional romantic hero. He is a brooding, vengeful anti-hero. Yet readers find themselves utterly compelled by his pain and his passion, unable to look away from the destruction he causes. The novel's structure was also revolutionary for its time. Emily Brontë uses a clever framing device, with the story being told through the diaries of a tenant, Mr. Lockwood, and the recollections of the housekeeper, Nellie Dean. This creates layers of distance and perspective, making the story feel like a piece of local folklore, a dark legend being passed down through generations. It also makes the narrators themselves part of the story, with their own biases and limitations. This complex narrative technique was far ahead of its time and adds to the novel's mysterious and unsettling atmosphere, drawing the reader deeper into its tangled web. Furthermore, the novel's exploration of raw, unfiltered human emotion strikes a chord with modern readers. In an age where many feel disconnected, the sheer intensity of feeling in Wuthering Heights is captivating. The love, the hate, the grief, and the rage are all presented without apology. Emily Brontë does not shy away from the ugly, violent side of human nature. She dives right in, examining the destructive potential of obsessive love and the corrosive effect of a desire for revenge. This psychological depth makes the characters feel terrifyingly real and ensures the story remains relevant, speaking to the darker parts of our own hearts. Ultimately, Wuthering Heights endures because it is a work of pure, untamed genius. It's a book that defies easy categorization. Is it a gothic novel, a romance, a social commentary? It is all of these things and none of them. It has inspired countless adaptations, from films and television series to songs and plays. Each new generation of readers discovers it and finds something new to marvel at, whether it's the haunting beauty of the prose, the shocking behavior of its characters, or the powerful evocation of the wild Yorkshire landscape. The book is a force of nature, much like the moors Emily Brontë loved so dearly. Emily Bronte's life was tragically short. She died of tuberculosis in 1848, just a year after Wuthering Heights was published, and she was only 30 years old. She never lived to see her novel achieve the monumental status it holds today. She never knew that her Ellis Bell would become one of the most revered names in English literature. Her legacy is contained almost entirely within this single astonishing book. It is a legacy built not on a large body of work, but on the sheer concentrated power of one masterpiece. It's a testament to the idea that one brilliant flash of creativity can light up the centuries. Her writing leaves an indelible mark on anyone who reads it. It makes you feel the wind on your face and the cold stone of the Wuthering Heights farmhouse. It pulls you into a world of intense, almost supernatural passion. Reading Brontë is not a comfortable experience. It is unsettling, challenging, and emotionally draining. Yet, it is also exhilarating. She makes you confront the untamed wilderness, not just of the moors, but of the human soul itself. Her work reminds us that love can be as destructive as it is beautiful, and that the past never truly leaves us, its ghosts continuing to whisper on the wind. The enigmatic figure of Emily Brontë herself adds to the power of her legacy. How could such a quiet, secluded woman with so little experience of the world imagine such a violent and passionate story? This question has fascinated readers and scholars for generations. It seems the answer lies in her powerful inner life. nurtured by the solitude of the moors and the freedom of her own extraordinary imagination. She didn't need to see the world to understand its deepest and darkest truths. She simply looked inward and onto the wild landscape outside her window and found everything she needed. In the end, Emily Bronte's legacy is one of fierce, uncompromising artistic vision. She wrote the book she wanted to write, ignoring the conventions and expectations of her time. She created a world that is entirely her own, yet one that speaks to universal human experiences of love, loss, and belonging. Wuthering Heights is more than just a classic novel. It is a cultural landmark, a raw and beautiful cry from the heart of a reclusive genius. Her voice, like the ghost of Catherine Earnshaw, still wanders the moors, refusing to be silenced, forever haunting and captivating the imagination of her readers.